Imagine looking at your bank account on like the 30th of the month and just realizing that over the last 10 years, millions of rupees have passed through your hands.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
have absolutely no idea where they went.
Right. It's incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, you're working the standard 9 to 5, earning a regular decent salary, but it feels like you're on this treadmill, right? Like you're running as fast as you can,
Ugh.
yet ending up in the exact same spot every single month.
Yeah, and that cycle traps so many people. I mean, across the board. Whether you're a beginner just entering the workforce, a busy working parent trying to manage a household, or even someone prepping for marriage,
Hmm.
the trap is the same. You earn, you spend, and you feel entirely out of control of your own resources. The default state for most people is just surviving the month.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, our mission is to explore this 119-year-old Japanese behavioral system designed to fix exactly that.
Yeah.
It completely flips the script on how we view our resource.
It really does.
It turns saving money from this source of, constant guilt and restriction into an act of highly intentional living. And it's called Kakeibo. Now, before we get into it, I have to admit, when I first heard Japanese financial system, my brain immediately pictured some massive, complex budgeting spreadsheet.
Right, with pivot tables and
Formula everywhere.
yeah, that is the hurdle most people face when they hear the word budget. But the reality is quite the opposite. Kakeibo is not really a mathematical tool.
Okay.
It's fundamentally a behavioral framework. It forces you to become mindful about your money. So we aren't looking at complicated investment calculations or tracking micropennies.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, I would distill this entire Japanese framework down to basically 5 core habits. Notice, question, decide, save, and review.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to even start with those 5 habits, there is a massive mindset shift required that,
Right.
well, it directly challenges the way almost all of us were taught to handle our salaries. Because the traditional formula we all seem to follow goes like this. Your salary comes in, you pay your bills, you spend on what you want, you spend a little more.
Naturally.
Yeah. And then, right before the next payday, you try to save whatever remains, and usually what remains is zero.
Exactly. The sequence is the entire problem.
Yeah.
The Kakeibo method completely reorders that chain of events. So the new formula is salary comes in, save first, pay necessities, spend on wants, and then review.
Okay, wait, save first.
Yes. Let's ground this in a concrete example. Say someone earns 200,000 rupees a month.
Okay.
Instead of waiting to see what magically survives until the 29th of the month, they decide on the 1st of the month that 30,000 rupees belongs entirely to their future.
Right, so that 30,000 is moved into a separate savings or investment account immediately,
Oh,
like on day one.
day one.
The best way I can think to describe this is imagine you have a large, delicious pizza in front of you.
Okay, I like pizza.
Right. And the traditional method is eating the entire pizza, slice by slice throughout the day, and then hoping you have enough willpower to save the crumbs for tomorrow's lunch.
Which never happens.
Never happens.
Okay.
But the Kakeibo method is plating your healthy portion first, putting it away in the fridge, and then sitting down to enjoy what's left on the table with absolutely zero guilt.
That pizza analogy works perfectly because it highlights this deeply held, flawed belief we all have. We think we don't earn enough to save.
Oh, yeah. I'll save when I make more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We tell ourselves, I'll start saving when I get a promotion, or I'll save when my income increases. But very often, the problem isn't the size of the income.
Great.
The problem is that we are prioritizing our current desires over our future security. By saving first, you are paying your future self before you pay a restaurant or a clothing brand.
And if you're listening right now and thinking, well, I don't make 200,000, I make half of that, the magic of Kakeibo isn't in the absolute math. It's in the sequence. Even if you're plating a much smaller slice for your future, the habit is what protects you. So assuming we've plated our future savings, how do I actually handle my daily spending? Because I'm going to be honest, I am usually derailed by a giant red sale sign.
We all are.
Yeah.
But that is the exact moment Kakeibo proves its worth. It introduces a brilliant psychological speed bump for purchases.
Speed bump. Okay.
Yeah. Before you buy anything that isn't a strict necessity, you ask yourself 4 specific Kakeibo questions.
Okay. I'm ready.
Number 1, do I genuinely need this? Number 2, can I afford it without touching my savings or essential bills?
Right.
Number 3, will I actually use it 6 months from now? And number 4, what do I already own that can do the exact same job?
Okay. Let's apply this to a real scenario. Say I'm out at the mall, I've had a really stressful day at work,
Mhm.
and I see a new handbag on sale for 12,000 rupees.
Okay.
The immediate reaction in my brain is, well, it's 30% off. I'm practically making money by buying this right now, and I deserve it.
Right. That is classic sales psychology. It's often fueled by stress or, social comparison.
Mm.
Your brain is seeking a quick dopamine hit to offset the bad day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Kakeibo steps in and forces you to pause. It asks you to logically consider, do I need a new handbag, or do I already have 3 sitting in my closet?
Ouch. Yeah.
Right. Will this bag actually add meaningful long-term value to my life, or is it just a 15-minute thrill? And most importantly, what broader financial goal could that 12,000 rupees support if it just stayed in my bank account?
And the crucial point here is that Kakeibo isn't acting like a strict parent saying, no, you absolutely cannot buy the handbag.
Not at all. I mean, you may run through those 4 questions and still decide to buy the bag.
Okay.
The objective isn't to stop you from spending entirely, it's to teach you to spend deliberately. Frugality is often misunderstood as deprivation.
Yeah, people hate that word.
They do. But true frugality is simply prioritizing what actually matters to you.
Okay, so if I'm trying to apply this tomorrow, how do I actually categorize my spending without going crazy? Because if I have 50 different budget categories, I'm going to quit by Wednesday.
Oh, for sure. Simplicity is key here. The framework breaks your entire financial life down into just 4 broad categories.
Just 4?
Just 4. The first is necessities. These are your non-negotiables for survival and basic function. So rent, electricity, groceries, transport, children's school fees, essential medicines.
Okay, basic internet, stuff like that.
Exactly.
Right. And what about the fun stuff?
That falls into the second category, which is optional wants. These are things that make life enjoyable but aren't strictly essential for survival. So, restaurant meals, grabbing a coffee on the way to work, new clothes you don't actually need,
Right.
expensive cosmetics, or, deciding to upgrade a phone that is currently working perfectly fine.
That distinction is huge. An essential phone for work is a necessity, but the newest model with the extra camera lens is an optional want.
Precisely. Now, the third category is where Kakeibo feels very human. It's called culture and lifestyle.
Okay.
These are expenses connected to your values, your personal growth, your community. This includes gifts, family gatherings, religious or social events, books, hobbies, charitable giving.
Oh, I love that this gets its own category. It acknowledges that we aren't robots, right? Like, giving a gift or attending a family event isn't a waste of money. It's part of being human.
Exactly. It's intentional.
But that brings us to the fourth category, which is unexpected expenses.
Yeah.
This includes, car repairs, replacing a broken refrigerator, medical emergencies.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to push back here.
Okay, go ahead.
I always get derailed by this category. How can I possibly budget for a broken car? It feels completely random and unfair when it happens.
I hear that all the time. But there is a vital psychological reframing needed here. Beginners often confuse the word unexpected with unavoidable.
Interesting.
If you zoom out and look at a 5-year timeline, appliances breaking down or cars needing repair is actually completely unavoidable.
That's true.
Creating a dedicated category for these expenses removes the shock value. You might not know exactly what will break this month, but you know something eventually will.
Wow, that is a subtle but massive mental shift. It takes the emotional panic out of a flat tire.
It really does.
Okay, but let's talk about the day-to-day reality. Especially for a busy 9-to-5 worker or a parent, a business owner, you're exhausted.
Yeah.
You do not have the mental bandwidth for complex tracking. What usually happens is this silent financial leakage that just quietly drains the salary dry.
Yes. Financial leakage is arguably the silent killer of wealth for the middle class. We are talking about the daily food delivery apps,
Oh, yeah.
the random online shopping late at night, frequent ride hailing because we're running late, or subscriptions we signed up for and just completely forgot about.
50 rupees here, 500 rupees there.
Exactly, and it accumulates at a terrifying speed.
So how do we plug the leak without spending hours a day on an app? Because this is where it gets really interesting for me. The routine to fix this is literally just 10 minutes a day.
It is incredibly sustainable. So in the morning, you spend exactly 2 minutes. You aren't doing deep financial planning. You just ask yourself one practical question over your coffee: what money am I likely to spend today?
So you just estimate, like, my transport will be 500 rupees, my lunch at the cafeteria is 700, and maybe the kids need 500 for a school project. That's an expected spend of 1,700 for the day. Done.
That's it. You've set an intention. Then, during the day, comes the most powerful tool in the system, the 30-second pause.
Okay.
When you are faced with an unnecessary purchase, you pause and categorize it. Need, want, or impulse. If it's a want, you implement the 24-hour rule. You force yourself to wait one full day before buying it.
Just one day. It seems too simple.
There is a deep neurological reason for this.
Right.
When you see something you want, especially on sale, the emotional center of your brain, the amygdala, it takes over.
Right.
It wants that instant gratification. By forcing a 24-hour pause, you allow your prefrontal cortex, the logical decision-making part of your brain, to come back online.
So you literally outweight your own brain chemistry. You wake up the next day and realize you didn't even want it that badly. You were just stressed out.
Exactly. Then, at night, you spend 3 minutes recording what you actually spent. And traditional Kakeibo emphasizes writing this down physically in a ledger, not just swiping on an app.
Why physically writing it down, though?
Because writing creates psychological friction. It forces your brain to process the action. Mindlessly tapping a credit card is frictionless.
Right. You don't feel the money leaving.
Exactly. But writing down lunch, $700, transport, $500, grocery, $1,500, coffee, $450, online purchase, $2,000, total, 5,150 rupees. It forces you to confront the reality of your choices.
And the goal of this nighttime routine is not to sit at your desk and feel incredibly guilty about the coffee, right?
Yeah.
The purpose is just to see reality clearly.
Yes, no guilt, just awareness. Finally, on the weekend, you spend 5 minutes reviewing the week. Where did my money go? Did it align with my goals? That is your entire 10 minutes a day system.
Okay, this sounds amazing for an individual, but what about a family? Especially for women or homemakers who are often managing the household expenses, the groceries, the kids' needs. Usually, family money conversations just turn into arguments. Someone says, why did you spend so much on this? And everyone gets defensive.
Oh, it's a huge stressor. But this framework turns money from a source of conflict into a collaborative family management exercise. It introduces a 15-minute weekly family meeting.
Okay.
The focus isn't blame, it's strategy. You sit down and ask 4 objective questions. What went well?
Like staying within the grocery budget by planning meals.
Right. Then, what surprised us? Well, the children had 3 unexpected school expenses. Third question, what was unnecessary? We ordered food 4 times because we were too tired to cook.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
And finally, what should we change next week? Let's meal prep on Sunday so we only order food once.
I see, so it just takes the emotion out of it. And speaking of children, how do you handle kids constantly asking for things? How do you stop this from just turning into a weekly lecture where you tell your kids, no, we don't have money?
You change the narrative entirely. Instead of the classic line, we can't afford it, you teach them a very empowering phrase. We choose where our money goes.
We choose where our money goes. That linguistic shift is huge. It moves from a victim mindset to a leadership mindset.
Exactly. And you can demonstrate this practically. If you give a child an allowance of 1,000 rupees, don't just let them spend it blindly on candy.
Right.
Have them divide it immediately. Save 400 rupees. Spend 400. Give to charity 200. Instantly, the child learns that money isn't just for consuming. It has choices and responsibilities attached to it.
And if they want a new video game, you don't just say yes or no right away.
Yeah.
You introduce the want list. You write the game on the list, put it on the fridge, and wait 7 days. If they still want it after a week, then you discuss if it's worth spending their saved allowance on. It's like the 24-hour rule, but extended for kids to teach delayed gratification.
It's building the prefrontal cortex we talked about earlier. Now, there is another major reality we need to explore, particularly in a South Asian context,
Okay.
which is supporting parents or extended family.
Yes. This is massive.
Yeah.
Often it feels like this constant, unpredictable drain that you can't say no to, and if we're being honest, it can create a lot of silent resentment or stress within a household.
Right. And this brings us back to how we categorize our obligations. The Kakeibo approach is to stop treating family support as a random, stressful emergency. You create a specific, proactive family responsibility category in your budget.
So if you have a monthly income of 250,000 rupees, instead of waiting for a family member to call with an emergency, you proactively allocate a set 25,000 to family support at the start of the month.
Exactly. By allocating it in advance, you completely transform the psychological experience. It is no longer a moment of panic thinking, oh no, another unexpected family expense is going to ruin my month.
Right.
You have already recognized it as a core part of your financial life. It changes the internal feeling from uncontrolled spending to intentional generosity.
Intentional generosity, that changes everything.
Yeah.
Now let's pivot to a totally different demographic. The young, unmarried professionals, say you're earning 150,000 rupees, the overwhelming temptation is to think, well, I'm single, I have no kids, I work incredibly hard, I deserve to enjoy every penny of this.
It is an understandable mindset, but it is a very dangerous trap because of lifestyle inflation.
Mm.
Your lifestyle will naturally expand to consume your entire income.
Yeah.
This is actually the most critical time to start Kakeibo. If you don't build the habit of living below your means now, you will not magically develop it when you get married and have vastly more responsibilities.
So even with a 150,000 rupee salary, you divide it up before you spend a single rupee. Maybe 30,000 to long-term savings, 20,000 to a marriage fund, 15,000 to support your parents, 10,000 for personal enjoyment, and the rest to your basic necessities.
Right. The exact allocation depends on the individual. The foundational principle is build your financial discipline before your responsibilities increase.
I want to zoom in on that marriage fund for a second because South Asian weddings can absolutely annihilate a person's finances.
Oh, absolutely.
The cultural pressure, what would people say, is immense. People go into massive debt just to keep up with the social media aesthetics of their peers.
This is why it is so highly recommended to create a separate mathematical marriage fund. Do not mix this with your ordinary emergency savings.
Right.
The key here is to take a highly emotional, pressure-filled event and reduce it to cold, hard mathematics.
Walk us through how that diffuses the pressure.
Okay, let's say your realistic goal for wedding preparation is 1.2 million rupees. Your timeline is 24 months. The required monthly saving is exactly 50,000 rupees. Suddenly, you aren't waking up in a cold sweat panicking about how you'll afford a wedding. You are simply executing an equation. 50,000 rupees times 24 months equals 1.2 million.
But what happens when the math hits the reality of peer pressure? What if spending hundreds of thousands on a lavish pre-wedding event feels absolutely necessary in the moment because all your friends are doing it?
This is where Kakeibo introduces another profound Japanese concept, Mottainai.
Mottainai.
It translates loosely to a sense of regret over wasting resources. In the context of extreme societal pressure, Mottainai acts as a psychological shield. It prompts you to ask a very grounding question.
Which is?
Will this expense still matter to me 5 years from now? Will renting a designer outfit for 4 hours matter when you are trying to buy a house in 3 years?
Man, it cuts right through the noise. And Mottainai applies to everyday life too, right? It's asking, do we already have food at home before ordering out? Does my current phone actually have a problem, or is it just old? Can I repair this piece of furniture instead of throwing it away? Wasting resources is ultimately wasting money.
Yes, Mottainai stops you from thoughtlessly consuming, and this ties perfectly into the final step of the system, which is the monthly review.
Let's set the scene for this. It's the end of the month. You sit down in a quiet room, maybe with a cup of tea. It's calm, and you ask yourself 4 reflective questions. First, how much did I plan to save? Let's say the goal was 30,000 rupees.
Okay.
Second, how much did I actually save? Maybe it was 37,000.
Which is a fantastic victory to celebrate. Then you ask the third question, where did I waste money? You look at your daily records and realize, objectively, you spent 8,000 rupees on late-night food delivery and 6,000 on random impulse shopping.
And the fourth question, what will I change next month? You don't try to be perfect. You just decide to cut that food delivery from 8,000 down to 4,000.
Right.
And if we do the math on that, saving an extra 4,000 a month means you just saved an extra 48,000 a year, just by slightly tweaking one single habit.
That is the power of Kaizen, which means continuous incremental improvement. You don't try to completely transform your entire financial life in January, you will fail.
Yeah, that never works.
You just choose one financial leak to fix at a time. Month 1, you reduce food delivery. Month 2, you review and cancel unused subscriptions. Month 3, you tackle impulse clothing shopping.
Right.
Month 4, you improve your grocery planning to reduce food waste. By month 6, your financial behavior is dramatically different, but you never experience the friction of living under severe restrictions.
It's a gentle evolution, not a sudden diet.
Yeah.
So if we pull all of these pieces together, we use Kakeibo's 10-minute routine to know exactly where our money goes. We use Mottainai to stop wasting resources and ignoring peer pressure.
Yeah.
We use Kaizen to improve 1% at a time.
Yes.
And there are 2 more concepts I want to touch on before we finish. First is Shibumi, the pursuit of simplicity.
Shibumi is incredibly difficult in a modern, consumer-driven society that constantly tells us we need more to be happy.
Oh, absolutely.
Shibumi is the conscious choice to embrace a simple life over excess. It's finding elegance in having exactly what you need and nothing more. It reduces the urge to constantly consume.
And the final piece is hara-hachibu.
Traditionally, hara-hachibu is a health practice regarding moderation with food, basically eating until you are 80% full, leaving a little room. But in this financial framework, it serves as a profound metaphor.
Right. Instead of consuming right up to our absolute maximum capacity, like spending every single rupee we earn until our wallets are completely empty,
Yeah.
we intentionally leave some space.
Yeah.
We live at 80% of our income capacity, leaving that 20% as a buffer for the future, for emergencies, for peace of mind.
Beautifully summarized. And, you don't need to master every single one of these concepts on day one. They function as a holistic system. Ultimately, the question Kakeibo is asking is not, how much can I spend?
Hmm.
It's much deeper than that. The final principle asks, what kind of life do I want my money to create?
That is such a powerful shift in perspective.
Yeah.
If you are listening right now, especially if you're that person we talked about at the beginning, watching millions slip through your fingers over the years, we have a challenge for you. We are proposing the 30-day Kakeibo challenge.
The challenge is very straightforward. For the next 30 days, do not worry about investing in the stock market. Do not download complex budgeting apps. Do not create a massive spreadsheet.
Okay, just keep it simple.
Just spend 30 days learning your own behavioral patterns using the 10-minute daily routine. Notice your urges, pause for 24 hours on wants, and physically record the reality of where your money goes.
Once you actually know where your money is going, without judgment, then you can build a strategy that fits your actual life. It is about taking control and plating your portion first, rather than just accepting whatever crumbs are left over.
I want to leave everyone with one final thought to ponder as we wrap up this deep dive. If every single receipt you accumulated this month was published tomorrow as a diary of your actual life priorities, would that diary match the person you claim to be?
Wow. If my receipts were a diary, would it match the person I claim to be? That is the question to take with you as you step off the 9-to-5 treadmill. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.